Good morning, and we're in week 7, so we're almost done, and this is really the time for summarizing, closings, endings, and our readings and our assignments also reflect that this week. So let's take a look at what week 7 has in store for us. So I want to go over the readings first. So we have just 3 readings this time. I'm sorry, I don't know what I've done. Okay, here we go. So we have 3 readings. Perry and Vanderkolk are really about their closing thoughts, suggestions for advocacy, and how to help survivors of trauma. Rothschild is still going strong, and she talks about this case where a client comes in, is exhibiting all the symptoms of trauma but cannot remember the actual trauma, and how she treats him is really wonderful. I love that case, and her honesty is startling, and she just tells the client what she can and cannot do, and you would read the case study to really find out what happens. So I really like that case study. So this week's readings are fairly light and more as a closing to everything that we have been doing so far. Then we have 3 activities here. The discussion, we have the triad and dyad, only the dyad trauma therapy presentation, and I will go over that in a bit. Then we have the discussion for week 7, using the therapeutic approaches only, and then any final thoughts that you might have. Then you have the trauma explanation summary, and as you know, you have a choice. You can either do a recording, a video recording, or a written paper and hand it in. So it is your choice, and then we'll go over those choices as well. There is a course evaluation survey which you would have to complete. And of course, there's a self-care activity for week 7. This is, I think, a guided meditation by Deepak Chopra. So here I'm going to start with the trauma explanation summary. And you have to go to the major projects and assignments area to submit it. So it is worth 10% of the grade. And what you are doing is, as a clinician, how would you explain the impact of trauma to an adult, adolescent, or child who has come to you? You are acting as a therapist and speaking to the person. And this is really important because your delivery is very important. You cannot use the same tone of voice, the same language, the same demeanor with different kinds of people. So what you have to do is first provide a brief description of the person being educated. Who is your client? Age, even gender, race, other socioeconomic background. All that is important. Description of the impact of trauma was clear. So what is the client coming to you for? Is this a case of domestic violence? Is this a case of childhood abuse? Were they caught in a natural disaster? What happened? So clearly state why the client is coming to see you. Your words and tone have to show an understanding of the impact of a trauma to the person. So, how will you approach someone who is coming to you saying, this happened to me? Okay. What if your client is someone who cannot really verbalize what is going on? How will you approach that person? And so your words and tone really, really matter, and they're worth up to 2 points, up to 3 points. Words and tone show an understanding of the developmental needs of the person. So if a 5-year-old comes to you and you start using really big terms like hypervigilance, and that child cannot understand, then you lose the 2 points. So you have to these are an easy 5 points. How are you what kind of words are you going to use? How are you going to connect to your client? The written explanation, if you choose to do that, you have to use APA to format the paper. Paper has to be 3 to 4 pages long, not including the title page. Headings have to be used. In-text citations and reference page are present, and follow the APA format. Okay, and this is up to 1 point. Or your video, if you choose to do the video, it has to be no more than 15 minutes. Presentation should be clearly organized and clearly transition between each required component described in the directions. So which means all these components right here, which we will go over again. So you also have to display a professional appearance and demeanor. Speaking is clear, concise, and appropriate, and this is worth up to 1 point. So again, just make sure you have set aside some time to do this, and you can record yourself and pretend, and either have someone sitting in the chair, we don't need to see who it is, or pretend that there is someone there and record yourself delivering this explanation. Okay. So this is the trauma explanation summary. Let me go back. Here we go. Okay. And then we come to the discussion for week 7. This is not based on Perry. It is based on this common case study, Widener's social work shared case example. So you are going to use this to create therapeutic approaches. What we're going to do is, let me go back. This is done. We're in discussion. Yes. So your discussion is going to take place in 2 parts. Part 1 is where you will address therapeutic approaches to develop a post that speaks to the impact of this approach to the person in the case example for this week. Then what you have to do is therapeutic interventions from at least 2 of the presentations must be used as support ideas. So you may have one intervention that you consider the main intervention, but you can use some examples from your classmates' presentations and use them in your discussion. Okay. Please use headings, and this is the same as before. Please do not summarize the case examples, and try and avoid direct quotes. Paraphrasing and what you understood and what you're taking away from the course is going to get more points. So we're going to look at therapeutic approaches from micro, meso, and macro dimensions, and recommend effective clinical means to help the person recover from the impact of trauma in each area. So look at our movie this week. Antoine Fisher, what do you think helped him relate to himself, to other individuals like his girlfriend, his therapist, his friend? The group was his friends. The community is, I think, his extended family, and the society in healthier ways. Okay, this organization like the Navy is his macro. And what happened, or what interventions do you think helped him relate to? So this, any case that you pick up like this, the one that we're doing, first start with the person. What's going to help them relate to themselves, to individuals that are very close to them, to their groups, to community, like maybe the church, libraries, schools, and society as a large. Okay, that's part 1. Part 2 is describe one major takeaway from the course that you plan to use in your work. And if you are not working, then maybe you plan to use for yourself, or just plan to use in some way. And are there any thoughts or comments that you want to share with your classmates? So we can end on that. This week, you do not have to write 4 responses. You just have to write 1 response. And in your response, you describe what you have learned from your classmates' post and what you can add to their learning. Okay, so let's go back to the last exercise that is remaining, which is our dyad presentations. By end of week 6, you will need to post your PowerPoint in this forum, and this will count as the initial post for all group members. So you have to title the post with your group's name, example, the trauma topic, and presentation. Now, this is the initial post, and the responses are by end of week 7, each of you is to review all the presentations and respond to specific information that you learned from the presentation. What do you think were the strengths, and can you give some constructive feedback on what you've seen? Okay, so these are our assignments for this week. We're almost done. And please don't forget to fill out the evaluation surveys, and I will see you one more time before we officially close. Okay, take care. Bye.